Excretory system. We are moving with excretory system. Now need to learn the basics here. So we're going to learn about the basics of the class today. We're going to learn the kidney and as well as the what is the requirement of the urine formation, that kind of issues we are moving actually. For that, first of all, let's see the structure of kidney. We'll move with the structure of kidney first of all. Then let me show the different portions of the kidney here. So this is the outer portion of the kidney that we said it is surrounded by irregular dense fibrous connective tissue sheath. This one is a irregular dense fibrous connective tissue sheath. Okay. Then kidney outer portion we say cortex. The outer portion of the kidney we call it as cortex. And the inner portion is said to be medulla. Medulla is seen in the form of renal pyramids. These are all the renal pyramids here. That medulla is seen in the form of renal pyramids. Okay. So these are all the renal pyramids. And here you may see that in between the renal pyramids, there is some cortical projection. Just I am drawing lines to see that. The cortical projection. The cortical projections in between the kidney is called as columns of Bertini. That is said to be as columns of Bertini. Okay, so let me say again, the outer portion of the kidney is called renal cortex. The inner portion is said to be medulla. The medulla is seen in the form of renal pyramids. That in between the pyramids of renal medulla, there are some cortical projections. The cortical projections between the renal medulla is called as columns of Bertini. Okay, so then we'll see some more issues here in this particular area that need to see much in detail about the particular structure of kidney, like the medulla. If you take medulla here, this is the medullary portion. Let us zoom that medullary portion here, that we need to take that particular in detail. That if you take the renal medullary portion, that only renal medullary portion, we need to see the arrangement of the nephron. This is the renal medulla. Okay, so we have two types of nephrons, like cortical nephrons and juxtamedullary nephrons. 80% of the nephrons are cortical nephrons. Like this, they are present with very short Henle's loop. Very short Henle's loop, the mostly they are present in the cortex. So these are 80% of the nephrons are like this. Okay. But our topic is to learn about the juxtamedullary nephron, that which these particular nephrons are going to occupy the cues in the formation of urine. So for that we are going the Bowman's capsule, proximal convoluted tubule. Where do you see the Bowman's capsule? That is in cortex. And proximal convoluted tubule is in the cortex. Now talking about the Henle's loop. Descending and ascending limb of Henle's loop you can see in the medulla. Okay, longer Henle's loop with that descending and ascending limbs will find in the medulla. Next, after that, the distal convoluted tubule will be back again in the cortex. Okay, then that opens into initial collecting duct. That opens into the initial collecting duct. So this initial collecting duct is there in both cortex and medulla. These locations are very important for us to go for urine formation here. So let me say once again that what do you say this as? Bowman's capsule and proximal convoluted tubule. Where do you see that? In cortex. Okay. Next, the descending and ascending limb of Henle's loop. The descending and ascending limb of Henle's loop you can see in the medulla. Descending and ascending limb of Henle's loop, there you can see in case of medulla. And the distal convoluted tubule. Distal convoluted tubule is in the cortex. Then after we just talk about the initial collecting duct here. Initial collecting duct is there in cortex and medulla. such kind of nephrons whose longer Henle's loop is in the medulla. Henle's loop is longer and that is in the medulla. Such kind of nephrons are called juxtamedullary nephrons. Such kind of nephrons, we use it to say it as juxtamedullary nephron. So we have to talk about the juxtamedullary nephron. For that, first of all, let us make our own sequence in this particular area. The sequence, Bowman's capsule. From the Bowman's capsule, just follow the my line. The proximal convoluted tubule, which it opens into the descending limb of Henle's loop, then ascending limb of Henle's loop, then now we are moving into the distal convoluted tubule, whereas then it opens into the initial collecting duct. Such kind of initial collecting ducts, all they get fused and form ducts of Bellini. All the initial collecting ducts are going to form ducts of Bellini. So where do they open? These initial collecting ducts are going to open at, all the initial collecting ducts are open at the calyces. Where they get open? They get open at calyces that we see here. That calyces are again two types. So that what do you say? The calyces are again two types here. The minor calyces that see my mark here. These are the minor calyces. Then these are the minor calyces where they open into the major calyces. So like we don't have that minor and major calyces in the textbook here, but we'll find in the diagram that I'm showing here. So these major and minor calyces opens into the pelvis. Major and minor calyces opens into the pelvis. Pelvis opens, this is the pelvis region. The pelvis opens into the ureter. Okay, pelvis opens into ureter. Ureter opens into the urinary bladder. You need to come out like this. So the complete sequence of this particular area, I'll show here. So just let me draw a basic diagram of the kidney here. Then this is the cortex region, and I said this is the medullary region, cortex and medulla. Now let us draw our Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule, which opens into the proximal convoluted tubule, then into the the descending limb of Henle's loop, then ascending limb of Henle's loop, distal convoluted tubule. With that, we came back again to the cortex, isn't it? Then that opens into the initial collecting duct, and all the initial collecting ducts opens into the ducts of Bellini, which they open in front of the renal pyramid. What do you say them as? Calyces. These are calyces here. All the particular calyces opens into the wide space, we say pelvis. Pelvis opens into the ureter. Pelvis opens into the ureter. And ureter finally opens into urinary bladder. Ureter finally opens into the urinary bladder. This sequence we need to learn. We have three sequences here. The one sequence which explains about the passage of urine. That means if anything filtered in the Bowman's capsule, so what is the path here? What is the path? Proximal convoluted tubule, descending and ascending limb of Henle's loop, distal convoluted tubule, initial collecting duct, and all they opens into the ducts of Bellini, that opens into the calyces, minor and major, then they opens into the pelvis, pelvis opens into the ureter, ureter opens into the urinary bladder. This is the exit way. Okay. So for this exit, we need to write the sequence of this particular area. So the sequence here, let me show the sequence to you. That the particular sequence which explains about the whatever we learn now. The Bowman's capsule, then proximal convoluted tubule, then the descending limb of Henle's loop, ascending limb of Henle's loop, distal convoluted tubule, then initial collecting duct, and all the opens into the papillary ducts or ducts of Bellini, then minor and major calyces, then pelvis, then ureter, the finally will go to the urinary bladder. From the urinary bladder, that may open into urethra. That urethra is a urinogenital opening. What do you say here? So this is the complete sequence of this particular area. This paper will be sent to you. I'll send this in through WhatsApp. First of all, let us see the sequence here. That what we learned here, what we learned the sequence of nephron. If anything fall down in case of Bowman's capsule. What happens to that particular issue? What happens to that particular? So that we learn Bowman's capsule to urinary bladder. A journey of Bowman's capsule to urinary bladder. Next, what we need to see here, the who supplies blood to the body parts? Obviously, we say left ventricle. How does it is going to supply blood to the body part? With the help of left systemic aorta. Okay. So I'll remind you once again what we learned in the body fluid circulation. The left systemic aorta. What happens to left systemic aorta when it reaches to the body part? That is getting capillarized, and all these capillaries fuse and form vena cava, superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. So that will come back again to the right atrium, isn't it? That we learned earlier actually. So imagine if that is the kidney, this particular capillarization is going to happen in the kidney. So how does that sequence can be seen here? Kidney is also a body part. So that means where we see the capillarization you can see in the kidney, and all the capillaries fuse and form the vena cava, and that should open back again to the heart. Okay, this sequence we need to go to. So for that we need to begin from the heart. So I am beginning from the heart here. So let's begin it from the heart. So this is the heart, the left ventricle. The left ventricle will get down posteriorly in the form of dorsal aorta. We say this as dorsal aorta. Okay. The left ventricle, left systemic aorta will come down towards the posterior part of the body in the form of dorsal aorta. Okay. This dorsal aorta is giving a branch. What is that? Renal artery. Renal artery which enters into the kidney. Renal artery enters into the kidney. Let us see here. This is the particular blood vessel who is entering into the kidney. Renal artery enters into the kidney. Now the question raises here, when the renal artery enters into the kidney, what happens in the kidney? That means we need to see the complete picture of the kidney here. We'll take that in detail. This is the kidney. The renal artery started entering here. The renal artery is having much more branches here. Renal arteriole. Renal artery again branched into renal arteriole, mesangial artery, arcuate artery. That we were not going all that here. That will get all that in medicine here. So just renal artery that enters into the kidney into renal arteriole. Here let us draw. Little bit complicated here, but I said this is a very important class for our learning. Now I drawn the Bowman's capsule for you. The renal artery enters. There are about 1 million nephrons in the kidney. Just I am showing in one particular nephron what happens. The renal artery enters into the kidney, then it becomes a branch called renal arteriole. This is the renal arteriole which is branched again into afferent arteriole. Finally we need to come here, afferent arteriole. So this afferent arteriole enters into the kidney, then it forms a bunch of capillary network. This bunch of capillary network is called as glomerulus. Okay. So then from that particular bunch of capillary network, it is coming out in the form of efferent arteriole. Okay, so the sequence, what happened till the time? Let me from here, the left ventricle, left systemic aorta, then dorsal aorta, renal artery. We came into the kidney, renal artery. From there, the renal artery is branched into renal arteriole, then into the afferent arteriole, then glomerulus, and from the glomerulus, who get out? Efferent arteriole. Let us see when that efferent arteriole enters in the kidney, that efferent arteriole who exits from the nephron, what it is doing. So let me draw here. The proximal convoluted tubule, we use another color for this. With blood vessels, we use, let us use the red color for blood vessels. So this is the Bowman's capsule, proximal convoluted tubule, descending and ascending limb of Henle's loop, distal convoluted tubule, then initial collecting duct, which I drawn here. Now, let's take our pathway. Renal artery, arteriole, then afferent arteriole. What happened to that? Enters into the Bowman's capsule and the form the glomerulus came out in the form of efferent arteriole. Afferent arteriole entered in the nephron into the Bowman's capsule. It came out as efferent arteriole. So this efferent arteriole on above the proximal convoluted tubule, it is going to form a blood capillary network. We say it as peritubular network. We call it as peritubular net. And in a similar way, this is going to form vasa recta on above the Henle's loop. It is going to form vasa recta. So you need to remember this particular throughout the length in the next week, throughout the length that who is above on the particular PCT and DCD, that peritubular network. Then who is above on the vasa recta, that Henle's loop, vasa recta. So that finally opens into renal venule. What do you say it as? Renal venule. All these renal venules opens into renal vein. So then the story back again comes to the kidney here. This is the kidney who is coming out. Renal vein. Where it opens? Renal vein opens into the post caval vein, inferior vena cava. We used to say it as. So in the post caval vein which opens into the right atrium of the heart. Okay. Once again, I'll remind you, we said about the heart so many times that from the left ventricle to the right atrium. So from the left ventricle to right atrium. Okay, so just what we are doing here at in the place of body part, that body parts, we said there is some capillarization you can see, isn't it? The capillarization. So these particular capillarization, now we are looking forward in the kidney. We said till the time it has body parts. So just a little bit change we are doing. That body part name is kidney. Okay, so for that, let me show again left ventricle, left systemic aorta and dorsal aorta, then renal artery. Renal artery enters into the kidney. When renal artery enters into the kidney, what happened? Renal artery branched into renal arteriole, then afferent arteriole, then the branched here glomerulus. It formed the glomerulus. Okay, then from there it comes out as efferent arteriole. The efferent arteriole. Then efferent arteriole came out and formed a peritubular network. A peritubular network here, this above on the PCT and DCT, a peritubular network is formed, and above on the Henle's loop, you can see the formation of vasa recta. So vasa recta above on that Henle's loop, then that came out in the form of renal venule, and all that renal venules opens into renal vein. Renal vein opens into post caval vein, and that we get back into the right atria. So a journey from the left ventricle to right atria. So now the question raises here, why this particular thing is happening? So who is entering into the kidney? Who is entering into the kidney? Renal artery is entering into the kidney. Isn't it? Renal artery is entering. Who is coming out from the kidney? Renal vein is coming out. So what they are doing inside? Renal artery branched into renal arteriole, afferent arteriole, glomerulus, peritubular net, vasa recta, renal venule, renal vein, and then the post caval vein, they came back to the heart again. So this is the journey you need to understand. There are two basic sequences we'll end now. Two basic sequences. What are the two basic sequences here? One is from the Bowman's capsule. From the Bowman's capsule to that, let me rotate this, that we can, okay, no problem. No problem. Here, yeah, okay, let's see here. So one sequence we are seeing that Bowman's capsule, proximal convoluted tubule, the Bowman's capsule and proximal convoluted tubule. descending limb of Henle's loop, ascending limb of Henle's loop, distal convoluted tubule, then initial collecting duct, and that all get opens into the papillary ducts here, that papillary ducts. Okay, let me erase this. The papillary ducts are ducts of Bellini, and that opens into the minor calyces, major calyces, then pelvis, ureter, urinary bladder. Finally reaches to the urethra. Okay, so that means what I am saying here, when anything fall down here in the Bowman's capsule, from the Bowman's capsule, where they are going? They are going towards urinary bladder. They are going towards urinary bladder. Okay, so this is the sequence one you have to learn. And next, the another sequence is going to be here about the blood vessel sequence we are talking about. Renal artery. Renal artery is having some more branches actually, that all will come. You're going to get that in medicine MBBS first year. So what we have in our state textbook, I said, but it is my notes here. I made some special notes for this. Renal artery, segmental arteries, interlobar arteries, arcuate artery, interlobular artery. Finally, it will come to afferent arteriole, then glomerulus, then efferent arteriole, then peritubular net and vasa recta, then peritubular venules, interlobular vein, then arcuate vein, interlobar vein, renal vein. This is the full sequence actually, but not much required for us. Not much required for us. Somebody draw on line again. Okay, so these kind of so let's write all the particular sequences what we learned here now. Let's write all the particular sequences. So first of all, the first sequence we are talking about the left heart, from the heart. Okay, from the heart. So where we came from the heart? Left ventricle of the heart, left systemic aorta, left systemic aorta. Okay, so left systemic aorta opens into dorsal aorta. Okay, so starting from the heart, left systemic aorta, then dorsal aorta. These are enough actually for us. Renal artery, branch arises from the dorsal aorta is renal artery. Okay, so then renal arteriole, renal arteriole. Then afferent arteriole, afferent arteriole. What next? Afferent arteriole enters into the Bowman's capsule in the form of glomerulus, in the form of glomerulus. So then this glomerulus, from the glomerulus, so where do you go from the glomerulus? That will come out as efferent arteriole, efferent arteriole. Okay, so next, efferent arteriole to peritubular net and vasa recta. Should learn all these particular. So very important for us for the coming classes. Peritubular net and vasa recta. That all opens into renal venule. Then renal vein. Okay, then from the renal vein, we get back to the post caval vein to the heart. That post caval vein to the heart. Okay, so this is the sequence. Heart means we know heart. What it mean heart? So what it mean here? The heart means left ventricle. Here heart means right atria. It's a journey from the left ventricle to right atria. That here in this particular case, heart means left ventricle. From the left ventricle we get arise. Here in this case, heart means we get back to the right atria. So it's a general transfer of the particular blood supply to the body parts. Here we are talking about that particular body part is going to be that particular body part is going to be the kidney here. Okay, so let me see here. First heart, then left systemic aorta, then dorsal aorta, then renal artery, renal arteriole, afferent arteriole, then glomerulus. Finally, we just get back efferent arteriole, peritubular net, vasa recta, renal venule, renal vein, post-caval vein, then finally reach to the heart. This is one sequence you need to learn. Okay. Next, what is another sequence here? Let's see the another sequence. So we just started from the Bowman's capsule, isn't it? Bowman's capsule. So let's start from the Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule. Where does the Bowman's capsule get opened? Bowman's capsule open into proximal convoluted tubule. Proximal convoluted tubule. Proximal convoluted tubule opens into descending limb of Henle's loop. Proximal convoluted tubule opens into the descending limb of Henle's loop. Okay. Next. From there, ascending limb of Henle's loop. Ascending limb of Henle's loop. Okay. Then ascending limb of Henle's loop opens into distal convoluted tubule. Distal convoluted tubule. The distal convoluted tubule opens into initial collecting duct. The initial collecting duct opens into ducts of all that particular initial collecting ducts. We have another a particular duct here in our state textbook, that is straight collecting duct. Straight collecting duct opens into ducts of Bellini. Ducts of Bellini. Okay. So ducts of Bellini opens in front of calyces. We are seeing the minor and major calyces there. The calyces opens into pelvis of the kidney, then ureter, then urinary bladder. Finally, reach to the urinary bladder. So what you need to understand here, anything fall down in case of Bowman's capsule, that finally it will go there like this. Bowman's capsule, proximal convoluted tubule, descending limb of Henle's loop, ascending limb of Henle's loop, distal convoluted tubule, initial collecting duct, then let's start here. Initial collecting duct, then straight collecting duct, ducts of Bellini, then calyces, pelvis, ureter, urinary bladder. Okay, so what is the third sequence? Third sequence is itself our text here. That means third sequence itself, we are going to learn about that particular excretory wastage. That means the third sequence is explaining what we are going to learn exactly in the nephron. Exactly in the nephron. For that, we need to know what is happening here. What is happening? Why the blood vessels entered into this particular area? So that for that we need to go for what is exactly happening here. So that only we are learning today. That we are not going to learn all the particular issues of excretory system. Simply we are learning that. Simply we are going to learn. Let me show the whiteboard to you. Yeah, got it connected back. Okay, so simply what you are going to learn today, that efferent arteriole came into the Bowman's capsule, isn't it? They came here into that Bowman's capsule in the form of glomerulus. Okay, so we are going to drop excretory wastes here. Why the blood came into the kidney? To drop the excretory wastes. So when you drop something in the particular nephron, what happens to that? What happens to that? That will go in the form of urinary bladder, isn't it? So that means we came here, we just dropped the excretory wastes here. When you drop the excretory wastes into the neck of the Bowman's capsule, their path will go like this and finally will go to the urinary bladder. If they only drop excretory wastes, okay, but that's going to be a biggest problem here, that along with the excretory wastes, the filtration process, and during the filtration process, will find some useful substances are also filtered over in the Bowman's capsule. What is the useful substances? Glucose, amino acids, water, vitamins, minerals, along with the excretory wastes, that materials are also dropped down here. Now we should worry about that when that particular materials are dropped down here, we have a chance of going out. that may eliminate through the urinary bladder, isn't it? So, what is our motto? What we are doing in the urine formation? During the formation of urine, that after the ultrafiltration, when we drop the excretory wastes here, that particular excretory wastes, along with the excretory wastes, we have some useful substances are also there in the lumen of nephron. If you leave them, they go to the urinary bladder. Glucose, amino acid, vitamins, minerals. So that's why we need to absorb them. We need to absorb them. That is called reabsorption process. So what is our topic here? We can explain in two words. One is glomerular filtration. One is glomerular filtration. How does filtration will happen? That we'll discuss tomorrow. Then after the glomerular filtration, then how do we reabsorb the substances we dropped here? As I said to you, whenever you drop this particular substance here, is there anyone here to collect this particular way that useful substances? That I said to remember. So who is this? Above on this peritubular net. Who is this above on the Henley's loop? Vasa recta. So that I just shown to you earlier. So that peritubular net and vasa recta. Okay. So what I am talking about, when we do the ultrafiltration along with the excretory wastes, some useful substances are also fall down. So that how do we drop the excretory wastes, that we are like going to learn in the form of glomerular filtration. And after that, whatever that particular useful substances who are there in the lumen of nephron, so that we need to absorb into the cortical fluid from PCT and DCT collected by peritubular net, and they go to the renal venule. Whatever we absorbed in the medullary fluid that collected by vasa recta, that will go to the renal venule. Okay. Simply we say, what is the absorption process here? Simply we say, whatever the excretory waste is, we allow them to go like this. Okay. Whatever the useful substances, what we do with them? We do absorb back again. We'll take one example here. One example to understand this much better. So for that, let me take glucose here. Glucose. For example, what happened to the glucose? Let's see the path of glucose. So from the left ventricle, left systemic aorta, a branch, renal artery, entered in the kidney. So where we entered? We entered in the kidney. So from the kidney, that afferent arteriole that enters into the Bowman's capsule, afferent arteriole, that in the form of glomerulus, they entered in the Bowman's capsule. So the glucose is transferred in the filtration process. The glucose is entered in that particular filtration process. If you leave, what happens to that particular glucose? If you leave, the glucose may go in the urinary bladder. But we paid an effort, that we are eaten, we are digested, we absorb. So that particular glucose is now going towards the urinary bladder. We should not allow them to go. Okay, so that's why what we do, we reabsorb that particular glucose. So we reabsorb here in this area. So we are going to reabsorb. So let me draw this particular area back again. We'll take another diagram here. So along the length of the nephron, now the glucose is dropped down. Okay, so this is the portion which is there in the cortex of the kidney, and this is the portion in the middle of the kidney. We absorb our glucose here. Whatever the mistake you are did here, that along with the filtration, some glucose is also dropped down. So this particular glucose is absorbed into the cortical fluid. Okay. So this glucose is absorbed into the cortical fluid. Okay. Then who is taking from this particular peritubular net? Peritubular net will take into the renal venule, then renal vein, then postcaval vein, and then it goes to the heart. So finally we are taken up. Imagine if the excretory waste material, uric acid is there here, uric acid. What we do with uric acid? Let us see the path of uric acid. The path will come like this. So from the particular left ventricle, left systemic aorta, renal artery enters into the renal arteriole, then glomerulus. So we drop uric acid now. What we do with uric acid? So we should not do anything with uric acid. We have to leave that uric acid. So what will be the path here about the uric acid? We just go along the length. Uric acid, PCT, descending and ascending limb of Henle's loop, then distal convoluted tubule, initial collecting duct, ducts of Bellini, and ducts of Bellini that goes to the calyces, ureter, and urinary bladder. So I am requesting to you, just you go with these two. I give the path of glucose to you, and I'm giving the path of uric acid. So two contrast wastes we are taken here. One is the waste, excretory waste material, and other is the useful material. So for this, I can give for glucose from where to where you have to come through that I can give for the glucose. From where to where you can come through? From the heart to heart. The sequence. You try to frame yourself. If you are framing means that means today's class is productive. Okay, then for the uric acid, we should start from the heart, left ventricle, left systemic aorta, dorsal aorta, renal artery, arterial, but we are not coming back, isn't it? Heart to urinary bladder. So I am requesting you to do these two sequences here, to do these two sequences. If you do these sequences, we are going to complete this particular process in the form of glomerular filtration and reabsorption process. In the glomerular filtration, what the methods we follow, this area, glomerular filtration, that will take one class total. Then after that, we said about that accidental information, that glucose, along with the excretory wastes, some useful substances are also getting formed. So we absorb the useful substances and we leave the excretory wastes. That you say reabsorption process. Okay. So this is the basic issues here to be learned over. So with these, that will continue the class from day after tomorrow onwards. We go with the excretory system. Okay. So I request you to do the practice of these two issues here. Okay. Thank you.